This segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us, however you may be joining us. And I'm very glad to have with me our own Martin Folse. Martin, thanks for being here this morning.
Keith, thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Tough circumstance.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those days where we're just really sad to report the passing of former Sheriff Jerry Larpenter. And, of course, our deepest condolences go out to Priscilla and the family. But Martin, you got to know the sheriff very, very well. I mean, he was a part of what we did here at HTV for more than half of your career, right?
There's no doubt. Before I start, I also want to offer my condolences. I spoke with Priscilla this morning for her and her family. And just to let you know, Keith, this is not going to be the place that we say anything that's out of line. So anything on social media other than respect would be really the right road to go. But Jerry was such an integral part of our community. When I tell you, I don't know where to start. I mean, I just don't know where to start, because the people that were at the hospital, and trust me, the support group is unbelievable. But if Jerry was looking down on top of that room, Jerry would just go, what the heck is going on? Because Jerry was so simple. Right. You know, by design, so simple. But I think that's what people loved about Jerry Larpenter. But God, I was trying to begin. Where do you begin? Jerry was so open arms to us on everything he did. The drug bust, the synthetic raids. And I got to say this, through all of it, everybody thought Jerry was their best friend. He had that quality about him. He connected with people almost immediately, and maybe it's just that simplicity, like you said. He was a simple person. He said, this is who I am. This is me. And people were drawn to that. He was who he was. Yep. And he wasn't changing. Right. I don't care if presidents were in the room, governors, or his friends, he was the same. Right. And one thing I got to say about Priscilla, she let him be himself. Didn't try to change him. She let him be himself, and everybody around him would chuckle from time to time because they go, there's Jerry again, but he's a character. He was refreshing. Right? He was a character. But he brought a freshness to the types of, and he was open-minded to doing what was good for the public. And the reason I wanted to come on so early is because I don't want, it's all over town. Right. Already. Oh, yeah. I mean, my phone was buzzing. Right. The district attorney was sitting next to me in the hospital. His phone was buzzing. The sheriff's phone was buzzing. Percy Mosley, head of security's phone was buzzing. And it was like, all right, we got it going now, because he was such a larger than life component of this parish for so many years. Yeah. And no matter what election he was in, whether he won or lost, or whatever it was, at the end of the day, he was adored in this parish. Yep. And it's, and I'm not going to speculate and say on this program how he passed away, because that's going to be for the doctors. Correct. And for the family. Right. To release that if they choose to release it. But it wasn't suspect or anything. It was just a part of life. But I'm going to let them hold that personal way of doing things. Right. But, in the next segment, we're going to show you some clips of Jerry. And Jerry's one of the funnest interviews I always ever did. Yeah. Because I knew when I interviewed Jerry, I was getting exactly what I wanted. He answered the question. Right. He never dodged anything. He never dodged the question. He answered the question. When he did a press conference, I remember when we were covering these synthetic busts that were going on in the convenience store, he literally had my back the whole way because he knew what was happening. Right, right. He knew that the feds were involved. He knew and when we had to be quiet so investigations could take place, the one person that I always could rely on was Jerry Larpenter. The truth was the truth was the truth.
Right. And that, again, I think echoes the simplicity that kind of represents his life. He was about the truth, and he was going to say the truth, whether it was popular or not.
Right.
He was going to say the truth.
That's why it's
He
such
didn't change.
No, he didn't. That's why it's such a shock. And when I got the call this morning, I had to actually just take a deep breath and go, there's no way. I mean, somebody so larger than life. I sat with him not long ago at an establishment, and it was same old Jerry.
Yeah.
You know, talking good about people, making fun of other people in a good way.
Right.
Which we all do.
A healthy way.
Yeah.
Right.
And
he was great at that.
yeah, and I know in the next segment we're going to roll in some footage, but I want to let everybody know that later this week and early next week, we have a lot of footage and a lot of interviews, and we're going to open up this channel and having people come in and talk about Jerry, because he deserved it.
That's
if anybody
exactly right.
deserved it, he deserved it.
And that's a way to memorialize him and all of the things that he gave to this community and all the ways he gave to us here at HTV. And we're thankful and appreciative, and we mourn his passing.
Yeah, and just
At
to
the
see
same
the
time.
people's faces of shock, and I say this in all respect because the amount of shock I saw this morning is the amount of love
Yeah.
and how he was loved, and
Right.
we'll have some funny stories to mix in with it, but I'll let you go to your natural break, and we'll come back with a few clips.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Martin. We're going to do that. We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. Come back with us right here on Bayou Time as we help honor a legacy here in our town of the passing of former Sheriff Jerry Larpenter.
This segment was brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. Very glad to have back with us a man who really doesn't need an introduction, Martin Folse. Martin, thanks for being here. But another man who didn't really need an introduction either, as we talk about former Sheriff Jerry Larpenter, who passed away today.
Still in shock. As a matter of fact, Senator Mike Fazy just walked in the studio. He's in shock.
Yeah.
I think shock's a good word to describe how everybody feels right now, because it was very sudden. I'll leave it at that. More will come out. We'll let the family sort of
But
govern that.
shock and denial is a normal part of that grief process. It's the first stage that
No
people
doubt about it.
experience.
And I guess we pulled a few clips. There's going to be a lot more
Oh, yeah.
during the week.
This
but,
is just the beginning,
you know,
as we honor Sheriff Jerry.
when Jerry was hired as a deputy and by Sheriff Roseanne's, and he reminisced about it on interviews with me, let's roll that in just so we can remember Jerry the way Jerry was.
Who was sheriff when you first came on board here at Terrebonne Parish?
Sheriff Charlton Roseanne was a sheriff.
What was he like? I know I remember him from when I
Colorful.
first got started.
Colorful.
Colorful would be a good word, but describe a day with Charlton Roseanne.
Charlton Roseanne would just, Charlton Roseanne to me would give you the shirt off his back. He gave me my chance in law enforcement in Terrebonne Parish, straight out of the military. I worked my way up through the ranks. I was a patrolman, motorcycle patrolman, detective, uniform commander, and of course, during his illness, he appointed me as his chief deputy. Now, Charlton Roseanne, again, was in law enforcement numerous years, helped, and what I've gathered from Charlton Roseanne was that he was a people person.
All right, and I guess we're going to talk more about what you see is what you get, but I want to let the crew know in the back. We're going to jump to clip 4, where I always ask the one word to describe yourself. Typical Jerry. I'll let the clip play itself.
Tell the story.
Final question, same question I asked everyone on every one of these shows, and so far I have not received the same word one time. When it's all said and done, and you get to choose that word you're going to put on your tombstone, the one word that people will remember Jerry J. Larpenter as a person, Jerry J. Larpenter as a sheriff, what would the one word be?
I choose?
You choose.
Okay. Because I know a lot of people would put the word tightwad. for me because they know I'm that way because I'll be honest with you, I'm that way because of the way I run my finances, whether it's in the office or my personal finance. I'm just tight, but
No one's used that word yet.
I guess maybe, I don't know, compassion. That's, I think, I love people, and you know, I try to please. But I'll just put it to you this way: I like everybody. I don't have a problem with anybody. But if somebody doesn't like me, they got a problem with everybody. That's just the way I see life, Martin. Because I think I got my personality and my attitude mostly from my dad. And I got to give credit to my mama. She helped raise me too, but I think I got my attitude and my personality mostly from my father.
Hey, Keith, when I ask that question, I'm starting to realize now that question takes precedence a lot in today's world because I ask it years when I don't think anyone will pass.
Right.
But I'm curious just to get that one word.
Yeah.
And now I'm using it a lot more, but he hit the nail on the head. If you didn't like Jerry Larpenter,
Yeah. You got a problem with people.
yeah, there's no doubt. But when he said tightwad,
Because that's how people saw him.
yeah,
right?
but he was tight with the public's money. He was tight with his money.
Right.
Just ask Priscilla.
Right.
And she'll tell you, but God, he was just such a colorful person. And I got to say, what a gift for a guy like me starting a TV station to have a reigning sheriff for that long who was so colorful.
Yeah.
I got so many great interviews from Jerry and the friendship, not only with myself, spread around his parish.
Right.
Everyone's going to have a friendship story with Jerry Larpenter, and
Right.
that speaks highly of who he was.
Right. And I'm really looking forward to hearing that, right? The impact that he has. We look at people and what their impact is, but as a servant, somebody who served in the military, somebody who served coming through the ranks, as he mentioned, and then as sheriff for as long as he did, the impact that he had on this community and the positive impact that
And
he
then
had.
the father figure, and then him, you know, marrying Priscilla and loving her children and loving all the children around him, and just compassion. He just
like you
had that
said.
compassion.
Right.
And he was okay with retirement. He embraced it. And what a loss
Yeah.
for this community. And it's hard to find words, right?
Yeah.
It really is. And everybody's sort of stunned.
Yeah, it's shock and denial right now. We are going to grieve as a community. We're going to grieve as individuals who knew him and enjoyed spending time with him. And certainly, again, we want to make sure that our condolences go out to Priscilla and his family. And we're going to walk this path with her.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure we honor him.
And his
'cause he's
children
earned it.
and his brothers and his sisters and
Right.
his grandchildren and nieces and nephews and everybody who's mourning. God bless all of y'all. And we are here if you need us in any capacity. And God bless Jerry Larpenter.
Yep. God bless you guys. And thank y'all for joining us. Martin, thank you.
Thank you.
And we're going to continue to follow. You're going to see a whole lot more here about the passing of Sheriff Jerry Larpenter here on HTV as he's made a difference in our community. We thank you for joining us. We're going to take another short break, but we'll be right back right here on Bayou Time.
This segment was brought to you by Barker Honda. It's better at Barker.